It's time for Transport Line, the program that showcases the contributions of all modes of transportation to the socio-economic growth and development of our country, Africa, and the rest of the world. Transport Line is being beamed to you from the Center of Excellence, the state of aquatic splendor, and Africa's second largest economy, Lagos. I am Shino Ilegbede, and thanks for being part of the program. Few episodes ago, we discussed the issue of enhancing the potentials of the inland waterways of Nigeria. I had with me then the former dean of the School of Transport and Logistics, Lagos State University, Ojo, but unfortunately we could not immediately take the second part for exigency of duties of the former dean. But today, he's been very kind enough to create time for us to have the second part so that we can profoundly look at this issue of enhancing the potentials of inland waterways in Nigeria. Professor Samuel Gbadebo Odewumi, welcome to the program.
My pleasure. The pleasure is always mine to be here.
We are humble. Thank you very much, Prof.
Transportation is life, and without it, nothing moves. Thank you.
Prof, yes, the other time you were here when we took on this topic, you were very amazed that before we knew it,
The time was up.
Yes. So today, let's see how much we can pack into this 23, 25 minutes so that we can more or less educate and inform ourselves better. Yes, inland waterways in Nigeria. A few days ago, as a taking off short, the pirates attacked some Nigerians along the inland waterways in the south part of Nigeria. And when we want to harness, what is the role of security in this?
Let me say this. Until that is, you see, when the last time we were here, we tried to describe the problem. And one of the problems that I consider as Baba, that is the Ogapatapata of them all, as we say, is security. Because in transportation, the first consideration is security. Because of what use is you embarking on a journey if you know you won't get there or you won't be able to come back, whether air, rail, water, or whatever. So security is crucial. And when we listed about 5 problem issues that are dealing with it, infrastructure, policy issues, funding issues, the major one that we ended up with that time is security. Because whether, as I said, you are in the air, or on the road, or anything, security and safety is the issue. And for water, it is major because the response time of getting to those who are in their need is usually longer than in the land. Thank God NIMASA they actually did massively well to secure the Gulf of Guinea and the outlet of the inland waterways. But the challenge we noticed then, which we still know that we are going to deal with, or we are still dealing with, is the sustainability. The cost is heavy. We don't know whether NIMASA will be able to carry that burden for Nigeria going forward. So, and when I said the minutes went by quickly, we were almost on the problem, describing the problem that time. And today, where you guide me with your questions, I want us to discuss the issue, the solutions and strategies of how to solve some of these challenges.
Yes, definitely, Prof. We need to reinvent our will so that we can really attack the identified problems squarely. Yes, security, like I said, I started with that one. So how do you go about it? There is that call that we should have, like you have in the American world, the coastal guards.
The coastal guards.
Do we really need them there, or is Nigerian Navy adequate to handle this?
Whatever name you will call it, because the idea has been muted. We were going to a seminar, one of the workshops of NIMASA recently, and I was with the Chartered Institute of Transport Administration and NIMASA. We jointly went to the National Assembly, and the matter of Coast Guard came up. But you know, in Nigeria, our matter does not move quickly. It's a snail speed, and there are pros and cons. The Navy felt, because the Navy was there on ground, and their position is that give us the weapons, give us the equipment, give us the men. We should be able to. Why do you want to duplicate security on the waterways? But just as we are having the issues on the land, the other side to which I belong is that the Navy alone cannot do it. The security, even in America, we mentioned Coast Guard, they have other layers of security.
Yeah.
They have their own Navy, they have their own special forces and all that, but then they created the Coast Guard. And why this is so, and let me tell you, sometimes when we use these big names and nomenclatures, we make it look like it is a bit out of this world. But it is a way of thinking outside the box. Once upon a time, when the pipeline busting became very regular, Jonathan government tried to use OPC, including the present Tompolo government, for the people in the Niger Delta and the pipeline. And it works. For example, you will still see that Tompolo is still making a big impact, whether you like it or not, what they are doing. Moreover, it is synergy. The local guard, writing from OPC to protect the Southwest Pipeline that time, that has been discontinued. But we still continue, NNPC continued with Tompolo, what is the name? The Tantita. Yeah. So I am a strong believer that some machinery is like a bulldozer. It breaks the ground, but there must be smaller machine that will mop up, like a grader, that will smooth things. Now, if you have the Navy at the upper echelon, deploying drones, deploying helicopters, but there must be boots on ground. I'm an advocate of the fact that some communities are living along those areas. Empower them, give them a palasa phone, and say, look, if you notice this, call. If this area, if there is no bus pipeline, if there is no piracy, if there is no hijack of boats and passengers, the community will be giving this small token as an encouragement. It will be more efficient because these people are living there. They do their work. I've always advocated discipline for the rail line. And I told you our friend is there now. Yes. That the community farming on the rail, adjoining land should be networked. Look, you go there day and night. That's where you are. So when you see strange movement, because busting pipeline is not 5 minutes job.
It's not.
So hours. It's hours, and even now loading the fuel is not a 1 minute job. So to put it down strictly, I want those who are developing the architecture to allow on the floor, shop floor security, in addition to become the base. These are the people that will feed the Nigerian Navy. Nigerian Navy should not feel that, this is taking away the job from one. No, it is complementarity. The community, all the creeks, the Navy cannot be everywhere. Just like we now saying that the military cannot be everywhere. My advocacy along this pattern is that, look, in all these community, right from part of Ogun, Ondo, Niger Delta to rivers up to the Akwa Ibom side on the east side, there are people who are retired military, police, civil defense men. Let them form themselves into local guards. Because they've handled weapons, government can trust them with weapons. Because why the local hunters cannot match the bandits. It's because you are carrying AK-47 and carrying Sakabula. How will that match? It's a mismatch. So, but if you now say, okay, all the security men, the generals, the colonels, the police, the inspector general that have retired along this route, please come and put down your name. You belong to Ado-Odo, local government. We will form you into a vanguard. That because we know your number, then they are taking retirement benefits already. So you only need to add a little, and they are already well trained. So give them weapons to be able to face, and I advocate it for the land security too. So that's my approach, that it must be 2 layers. Those that will be on ground, because the Navy cannot be everywhere all the time. So I support the Coast Guard, but it may not be by that name. For me, it must be embedded in the DNA of the community. KBACs, I mean, thank God we are done to do constitutional review, where we will give the KBAC job. They should not just be waving their Irukere, being on the throne. They are the custodian of the culture and the social artifacts of the people. They can know their community better than everybody else. Let them be part of that Coast Guard that will form. They should be embedded in it.
Yeah, Prof, thank you. We know that security is important, but when you look at the inland waterways, one prominent endowment that God has blessed us with has to do with the issue of fishing and other resources that are on the base of the creeks, lagoons, and what have you. How do we tap it? How do we encourage and train the locals to be able to get something out of it, so that one way or the other, they too will contribute to the GDP of the nation?
You see, nothing happened by accident. People have to be intentional. Even if you have resources, if you are not deliberate, if you are not intentional, it will constitute a problem for you. Now, if you go to some riverine communities like Igbokoda and all that, they get this fish. Now, for example, whenever we are talking of blue economy, one thing that stands out majorly is what you have mentioned, which is fisheries and agricultural product, because so many things are tied to the water, the mainland water, the fisheries, then the coastal resources, the plants along that route and all that. So the major issue is you get the fish. How do you help the artisan to get it to the consumers?
Market, yes.
Because these major rivers are not where Korokwe can go. It's not where you can just take your Okada. Most of them are a bit far-flung. So it is the deliberate policy of one, first of all, getting the waterway navigable all the year round. We have about 10,000 kilometers of inland waterways, but just about 3.8 or 3.6 are navigable throughout the year round. But even those that are navigable, it's just like a road. You have to maintain it. So get it dredged so that it will be easy. Then get beacons and what we call safety markers. Okay. So that during the
navigational aids.
Yes, during the we did a research funded by Volvo about water accidents. During the rainy season, high flood times, you will hear that in Sokoto this happened, in Jeba, in Kogi. Those that we are hearing are very little when it comes to the accident, because during this dry season, the artisanal boat operator, they fly what we call blind. Just ordinary storm stamping out of the tree, just ordinary log of wood, just double crossing the road can capsize the boat. So clearing the channel and marking it with safety navigational aids for people. Then definitely you really have to also access it with proper jetties. When they land, how do they get it to the land? Jetties and access routes to that bay. There must be a road that link. That's why most of the time we talk of intermodalism.
Yes.
That is, you cannot talk of water without talking the land. So getting the access right, getting the channel itself right, put your navigational aids, and don't forget what we have started with, secure the place.
Prof, today, two issues are facing Nigerians. Briefly, we've spoken about security. The other one has to do with food. And food, we are still on it. The major source of protein is fish.
And one of the safest.
Yes, and we are there. Today, thank God you mentioned Vuvu. I know we are not promoting anything.
Yeah.
But the issue is you need to get the locals along that 10,000 kilometers inland waterways, well trained, well equipped, and also government has to have refrigerated vehicles or zone in case you go out to sea or lagoons, you come back, it's not everything you smoke.
That's right.
So you put some, then you mentioned it, multimodal transportation system, from sea now to land, from land probably to rail, and what have you. So what can government do? Because every day is just like people like you do the research, you present the papers, implementation is the problem.
That's right.
How do we get out of it?
You publish it in journal, then you get your promotion, you are happy ever after, but nothing gets done. Now, because your time is always very sharp and short, you have really broached what I call the strategies of dealing with harnessing. We know these resources are there, but what are the things we have to do to harness? We have mentioned tangentially the issue of infrastructural facilities, both in access, in getting the jetties and all that. That is very, 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 very major. Then the second thing is that we have to get our policy right. Thank God, Blue Economy did a fast one on the land transportation, and I congratulate them. Because Lisa said when it drops on the top of a Iroko tree, nobody congratulates them. Because some of us have been associated with getting land transport policy out. Although global transportation policy generally, since 1993, it has been generations of failed effort. So for the blue economy, the youngest of the modes, just pulling out a fast one. In fact, indeed, when they got that thing, I sent a text to our guy, the minister, and said, what happened now? He said, well, by the God's grace, by the next FEC meeting, the land transport should be out. So policy, but unfortunately, I've not been able to read that particular. When you called me, I wanted to quickly access it, but it's not really placed on the website, on their website yet. Although I have an idea, because what we did, or what they did, is what was done also for transportation. There was a global transportation policy that most of us in the academy, in the CIOTA, CIIT, that is CIOTA is Chartered Institute of Transport Administration, CIIT is Chartered Institute of Transport and Logistics. We are working together to get this global policy out. Because you see, transport thrives on two things, integration and coordination. If you do not coordinate, airway is going on its own, water is going on its own, rail is going on its own. So there won't be that synergy to get optimum and maximum result. So now, but the Minister of Transport said, look, Professor, my own boundary is land, rail and land. So how can I be doing policy for because in Yoruba they say where your policy, where your authority So now we all agreed, but all of us that are in the academics, we all agree that even if all of them are able to get it, we will find a way to bring them together. So blue economy now took away part of what was part of that global transport policy that was developed. Now, just as we yanked off rail and road for land transportation policy, so they did that and they brought it out. But I must say that I've not seen it. But what am I saying about strategy is that policy that is in place now, implementation and institutional framework. I'm sure they must have embedded the institutional framework into then they must deal with the environmental issues. Look, a whole lot of that kilometers have been dumped with waste.
And water is in too.
That is it. So all the solid waste sometimes end up in these
lagoons
and canals. So
yes.
they become they are not able to deliver. So we must find a way to deal with these environmental
and they kill
issues.
Marine.
Yes. For example, you see all these rivers, we can turn them into big tourist ecosystem. You know, when it comes to tourism, ecotourism is very, very useful. Along the rivers, those cultural festivals, those fishing festivals, along those are the ways by which, according to the topic of today, which we continue, annexing, we must deal with all these aspects to be able to annex all these resources along the waterways. Resources are not, they become. It is human beings that do things that make them become resources. If not, they'll be there and they just be disturbing, both environmentally and physically.
Yes, Prof. I did mention the issue of refrigerated vans, vehicles, and what have you. What people really are interested in is how to really get those resources from the sea, especially fish, crayfish, crabs, what have you, and get them to the market. If that is not done, we started the program, the topic, with the issue of security.
Yeah.
And security is very paramount. And it's not only land. Today is national.
I agree.
And how do we now enhance the resources in the inland waterways so that it can contribute to the socio-economic growth and development of especially the riverine communities? Let's look at this briefly before we round up.
You know, there's something we normally call lamentation of Jeremiah. For those of us in the academy, one thing we lament is, can you believe?
Esima lamenti.
That is it. If you see that Chinese are coming
From
to our coast,
yes,
to do the massive, because
poaching,
the
yes,
big vessels with which they come, they have refrigerator already inside.
Yes.
They have it loaded.
yes.
So as they are catching, they are freezing. As they are catching, they are freezing. So they're able to stay in the water. So it is, let me say this, Yoruba. If there is no activity, there is no activity. Antiquity. If you do not invest in getting this equipment that can assist, for example, if you have one big major vessel, the small artisanal boats, you can have hundreds of them just supplying the mother vessel with these resources.
Yes.
So the mother vessel will just be stationary somewhere, and the small mother vessel will be made. And we can supply the market in a way that is fresh, that is safe, and we can control what is the quality, what is the quantity. Don't fish below these certain net sizes so that you won't deplete the fish resources. So I think part of this is investment, and government can certainly not be able to do. It has to have the buy-in of the PPP, the private sector.
We used to have it. Remember the Ibu?
Yeah.
Igomu those days.
I was not young.
Ibu fish.
That is it.
Igomu near Bury.
So where are we now? Where are the equivalents of Ibu?
Well,
so, and you see, the point
foreigners
is that
have taken over.
we have regressed so much that whenever you suggest an idea, it looks like it is from Alice in Wonderland.
From the moon.
Whereas these are things that we have done. Yeah, that we have done before. It's not that it is practical. We have done it before. So I say that, look, we must take with the policy out. That is one leg. You know, I commended Lagos State government when the policy was out.
Yes.
Now, I commend, especially because they are, somebody who came from behind to get this policy. Yes, to get this policy of blue economy. Now that they have it, let them implement it. I'm sure, it's part of what we already know, and it will deal with all these issues of infrastructural, PPP, sustainability, funding, environmental issues, security issues, how to deal with them. I think it is time for us to look at this document and see how we put it to task. Not just now we have now drafted the policy and we go home and sleep. But definitely some people like us, we not allow them to sleep. We will continue to remind them, put them their leg to the fire, because if you want to generate economy, there is so much economy in the sea, in the waters, that you see, and it's so easy to regenerate because it's renewable. Look, we are talking of rivers. We have not mentioned the renewable energy. You can use it for hydro dams, to generate energy for the local power for the local community. Anytime you have a waterfall, that is a source of energy. So all these ones, I'm sure, will be embedded in the policy, and this is what we'll be looking at.
Professor Samuel Badibo Odewumi, I want to thank you again for creating time to come on Transport Line.
Thank you very much.
And we hope now that the policy is out, everybody will be on their toes to make sure that the implementation benefits Nigerians, so that our own food supply will increase. Also, indirectly, it will generate employment, and things will keep on getting better for us.
So please permit me to say this, because you are doing this free for the blue economy. Now, besides all these things, is awareness creation, training, letting people know what they are doing, what the left is doing in the ministry. So let the ministry ventilate, through a program like this that is already in transportation. Because if you, whatever you have, you are winking in the dark when people don't know. So they should not wink in the dark. That policy should come out, and by buying just about 5 to 10 minutes, on a transport program, including especially this one, I'm sure it's not going to cost a arm and a leg. Let them be doing it every week. They discover that, because you have to repeat your information. We call it reinforcement in education, and we'll all be better for it.
Thank you, Prof. We shall all be better for it, and that is it. We want to be better for it. We want everybody to have the financial muscle, the power to be able to purchase. Today, we say there's food insecurity because the quantity of food that are available, majority of us don't have the financial might to purchase. So what we need presently is that we should continue to be compassionate. Be your brother's keeper. Assist him or her one way or the other positively. That way, we have a better, peaceful society. Till next week. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Well done, sir.